A teenage girl vanishes into the darkness of night, leaving a family shattered, a community haunted, and a trail of disturbing clues no one could ever fully explain. Ruth Wilson was just 16 when she disappeared from the sleepy English village of Betchworth. She wasn't running away, she wasn't abducted by a stranger in the shadows. Or was she? What followed was a case riddled with secrets, suicide notes, withheld information, and a decades-long silence from those who might have known more than they ever let on. This is the chilling story of Ruth Wilson and the unanswered questions that still echo through the Surrey hills. Welcome to Crimes That Haunt Us. We release a new case every Sunday at 6 p.m, so hit subscribe and don't miss the next one. And let me know your thoughts on this case in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. To understand the mystery, we must first understand the girl behind it, who Ruth Wilson was, the life she led, and the quiet complexities that may have been hidden beneath the surface. In the quiet village of Betchworth, Surrey, nestled 21 miles southwest of London's bustle, a 17th century cottage on Wanham Lane holds secrets that linger like fog over the North Downs. Here, on January 31st, 1979, Ruth Wilson was born to Ian G. Wilson, a respected science teacher and head of the science department at Reigate School, and Nesta Wilson, a woman whose own shadowed past would cast a long veil over her daughter's life. Ruth's biological mother, Nesta, was born on May 1st, 1948 in Wellingborough, North Hampshire, and was raised by a Welsh couple after adoption. She married Ian in Newport, Wales in 1976. Their life in Betchworth's affluent commuter belt seemed idyllic, rooted in a close-knit community. But beneath this middle-class facade, a tragedy was brewing. In 1982, Nesta gave birth to Ruth's younger sister, Jennifer, known as Jenny, at the Wanham Lane cottage. The Wilsons' traditional life seemed unshakable. Yet on a cold morning of December 10th, 1982, Nesta, aged just 33, ended her life by hanging in the family home mere weeks before Christmas. Ruth was 3 years and 10 months, Jenny a fragile 4 months. Shrouded by the 1980s stigma around mental health, Ian told his daughters a gentler lie. Nesta had fallen down the stairs, her neck broken. Little Ruth, clutching her toys, internalized a crushing guilt, believing they caused her mother's fatal stumble. By late 1983, Ian remarried Karen Bowerman, deputy head and later head teacher at Brockham Primary School. Karen became mum to Ruth and Jenny, and the family clung to an image of stability, hiding the fracture beneath. From 1983 to 1995, Ruth grew up in Betchworth's Serene Lanes, a 20-minute walk from the Ashcombe School in Dorking, where she shone as a sixth-form student, tackling A-levels in biology and chemistry. Her dreams leaned towards archaeology, sparked by a love of history, but her heart also sang with classical music. Mozart and Bach filled her days, and literature, with Jane Austen's novels a quiet refuge. Described as intelligent, not cool, and slightly nerdy, Ruth cycled Betchworth's quiet paths, strummed her electric guitar, and played piano with a delicate touch. At St. Michael's Church of England on Old Road, she was a devoted organist, bell ringer, and choir singer, her hymns echoing through the ancient stone. Saturdays found her at Dorking Music, a music shop on South Street selling sheet music and instruments, while babysitting for local families padded her pocket money. In mid-October 1995, a restless curiosity gripped 16-year-old Ruth. With her ex-boyfriend and friend Will Kennedy, she journeyed to the General Register office in Islington, London, to confront her mother's death certificate. The truth struck like a thunderclap. Nesta's death was no accident, but a suicide by hanging. The lie Ruth had lived with, her toddler guilt over scattered toys causing a fatal fall, shattered. Understandably, it left a lot of questions for her. Why her mother, with 2 young babies, would take her life just before Christmas. Ruth was distressed and confused and started asking some dark questions. She became fixated on getting to the heart of exactly what happened. Ruth felt her life was built on a figment of lies, desperately seeking her own identity. The 1995 taboo around mental health kept Ruth from confiding in Ian or Karen, fearing a psychiatric ward. Instead, she shared her turmoil with Catherine, who was preparing to move to Sheffield, and Ruth asked could she join her there. It was sometime shortly after discovering this crushing truth, Ruth briefly fled, hiding at Ben Anderton's house on Station Road, Betchworth, for a day or two. A fleeting rebellion hinting at home life tensions, though Ian and Karen denied any deep discord. Early November 1995 saw Ruth unravel further. One evening, she stayed at Catherine Mayer's house. Catherine's mother noted Ruth's distress, recalling her tears and insistence she didn't want to be there, at home, though she offered no specifics. Catherine described Ruth as secretive, her reasons cloaked, yet she again asked to join Catherine in Sheffield, a plan Catherine thought was about their bond. By mid-November, Ruth's unrest grew palpable. She frequented Box Hill on multiple occasions, a 224-metre chalk summit in the North Downs, its rugged cliffs and yew woodlands a haunt for her and friends, or a solitary refuge. Box Hill's dark reputation as a suicide hotspot, with its 100-metre drops, would later haunt the investigation. Friends, including Will Kennedy, saw her as troubled but not suicidal, her unease tied to home life. On Saturday, November 25, 1995, Ruth worked her usual shift at Dorking Music from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., selling sheet music with her characteristic focus. That evening at 7 p.m., she dined at Anjula's Tandoori, an Indian restaurant in Dorking, with Will Kennedy and Neil Phillipson. Ruth paid for the meal, her words chilling, something to remember me by. To Will, her close friend despite their recent breakup, it was a cryptic hint of her intent to vanish. Sunday, November 26, 1995, began with Ruth at St. Michael's Church at 10 a.m., ringing handbells alongside choir members Sarah Thompson and Reverend John Harkin. Her organ rendition of Abide With Me showcased her skill, her smile masking inner turmoil as she chatted about up-and-coming church events. At 6 p.m., she joined a youth group at Dorking Christian Centre on Church Street, engaging in faith and community discussions with friends like Neil Phillipson, who noted her slight reserve, as if her mind wandered to secret plans. By 7:30 p.m., Ruth ate supper at Will Kennedy's house with Will's mother, Margaret Kennedy, present. Margaret would later recall Ruth was quieter than usual, nibbling a light meal and discussing school casually before returning to Wanham Lane by 9 p.m. November 27, 1995 dawned cold and wet, the day Ruth Wilson would vanish. At 7:30 a.m. in the Wanham Lane cottage, Ian and Karen rushed out for an Ofsted inspection, Ian to Reigate School, Karen to Brockham Primary. Ruth, lost in the cranberries, no need to argue on her Sony Walkman, stood in the hallway. Ian, hurried, snapped, "Out of my way, I'm in a hurry." His final words to her. Ruth told her sister Jenny she had skipped the London and County Bus 465 to the Ashcombe School, a choice Jenny shrugged off due to Ruth's flexible sixth-form schedule, though it felt oddly abrupt. Will Kennedy arrived at 7:45 a.m., offering Ruth a lift, but she declined with a vague, "I'll see you later," suggesting she'd attend afternoon classes. By 11:30 a.m., Ruth took a taxi to Dorking's town centre, arriving by 11:45 a.m. At noon, she entered Thistle's Florists at 257 High Street, ordering an expensive bouquet of roses and lilies for Karen to be delivered on November 29th at 9 a.m., insisting it arrive no sooner. No note accompanied the order. Catherine Mayer would later call it a defiant gesture to make a point to her stepmother, while others saw it as a final farewell. Miss Totman, the florist, noted Ruth's calm but determined demeanour. From 12:30 p.m. to 4 p.m, Ruth lingered in Dorking Library, its wood-panelled quiet enveloping her as she browsed books, perhaps literature or history, and sat at a study table, her actions deliberate. At 4 p.m, under a 4-degree downpour, Ruth boarded another taxi from Dorking rail station on Station Approach, bound for a muddy bridleway 200 yards from the junction of Box Hill Road and Headley Heath Approach, near the Hand in Hand pub. The 3-mile, 10 to 15-minute ride along winding Box Hill Road ended at 4:30 p.m, dusk cloaking the North Downs in low visibility. Clad in a red knitted jumper, black velvet trousers, black pixie boots, and a small lady's watch, Ruth carried a blue duffel bag with her Walkman and tapes, likely the Cranberries, but no coat. The driver noted her calm focus. She stood motionless in the rain, 200 yards from the pub, as if waiting for someone, her figure fading in the driver's rearview mirror. The duffel bag, potentially holding ID, money, or writing, vanished with her, a haunting forensic gap. This was her last confirmed sighting. By 7 p.m, Ruth hadn't returned to Wanham Lane. Ian and Karen, alarmed, contacted the Ashcombe school, learning she'd skipped classes. At 7:30 p.m, they called Surrey police, suggesting a runaway scenario, citing her October flight to Ben's house. The investigation erupted swiftly. From 8 p.m. on November 27th to dawn on November 28th, 1995, Surrey police launched a 1,000-acre search around Box Hill, targeting the Bridleway and Betchworth quarries chalk cliffs, a known hotspot. Helicopters buzzed, German shepherds sniffed, thermal imaging scanned, and 30 volunteers from Dorking and Betchworth scoured the area. Catherine Mayer later mused, "I always thought it odd that they launched such a huge search so quickly. Teenagers fail to come home all the time. It made me wonder what they thought they knew," hinting police feared suicide or foul play, spurred by Box Hill's grim reputation. No trace of Ruth or her duffel bag emerged. On November 29, 1995 at 9 a.m, as the search intensified, Thistle's florist delivered the bouquet of roses and lilies to Karen at Wanham Lane per Ruth's precise instructions. No note accompanied it, its silence deafening. Surrey police called it a premeditated act, but its meaning split opinions. A farewell or, as Catherine Mayer insisted, a defiant jab at her stepmother to make a point. No delivery driver statements or Karen's reaction surfaced, deepening the enigma of Ruth's intent, a calculated move to shape the narrative as she vanished. On December 1, 1995 at 10 a.m, police found 3 handwritten farewell notes hidden under a bush at Betchworth Quarry's edge, 500 yards from Ruth's last sighting. Addressed to Ian and Karen, a close friend, likely Catherine or Roxy, and a teenage boy, possibly Will Kennedy or another, their content remained sealed. Early police reports leaned towards but private investigator Liam McCauley would later argue they could be ambiguous or staged to mask a planned escape. Nearby, 2 empty Anadin paracetamol packets, 24 tablets, and a half-empty 750ml Martini Rosso Vermouth bottle, 15% ABV, raised questions. No fingerprint or DNA testing was publicly confirmed, leaving forensic gaps. Were the notes left that day or earlier a deliberate misdirection? On December 2nd, 1995 at 8 a.m., a 60-volunteer search of Betchworth Quarry's 50-acre expanse, orchids and new woodlands drew Surrey Police, Surrey Fire and Rescue, Ashcombe School Friends, Betchworth locals, National Trust Warden, and Neon Isle Limited employees. Tracker dogs and thermal imaging found nothing. Family Liaison Officer Mark Williams-Thomas from Dorking Police Station declared, "Extensive searches across Box Hill have yielded no evidence to suggest she was killed or committed suicide." He posited Ruth either met someone and left or died in an unspecified way, dismissing stranger abduction. On December 8, 1995 at 7:30 a.m., Ian and Karen appeared on ITV's This Morning from a London studio, their voices strained, urging, "We believe you're alive but afraid to come home." Their sparse media presence kept the case low profile, a whisper in the headlines. In August 1996, South Yorkshire Police descended on Catherine Mayer's student flat near Ecclesall Road, Sheffield's vibrant student hub, where she had moved. Prompted by Surrey Police's review of Ruth's October 1995 plea to join Catherine, officers searched her wardrobe for traces of Ruth, clothing, her missing duffel bag, but they found nothing. Catherine, cooperative, would later tell the Daily Mail, "The police came to my flat in Sheffield thinking maybe Ruth had come to me, but I hadn't seen her since I left Dorking." The visit, part of 1996's broader chase of Ruth's social ties, deepened the mystery of her elusive trail. On October 1, 1996, an unconfirmed sighting of Ruth on London's outskirts surfaced after a live TV missing persons appeal. On November 27, 1996, at 2 p.m., grainy CCTV from a newsagent at 44 South Street, Dorking, captured a distressed girl resembling Ruth, aged around 17, demanding local newspapers like the Surrey Advertiser and Dorking and Leatherhead Advertiser, which covered her case. Upset when one was sold out, she left, the shop owner alerting police, who came and preserved the footage. Ian and Karen believed it was Ruth, Karen pleading, "We want to tell her. We love you so much. Just get in contact, Ruthie, and let us know where you are." This sighting remains unverified. From 1996 to 2010, Surrey Police chased leads across the UK, Brighton, Sheffield, and even a 2008 MySpace post from Vancouver, Canada. In 2006, Ian Wilson wrote in the Times, "We still have the presents we bought you for Christmas in 1995. They are safe in a drawer, waiting for you to come back, though I expect your tastes have changed so much you'd probably laugh at the music and clothes. Though the house is too large now, your sister Jenny has moved out. We can't bear to move. It's your home, after all. Your disappearance is still a mystery. You were confident, independent-minded, and, apart from the usual teenage frictions, seemed so happy at home. You can imagine our terror and how we searched month after month. I trawled London, hoping against hope I'd find you. We wondered if you had a secret, but your filofax revealed nothing. The police discovered you had visited Box Hill before, but I don't know why. There have been many false leads. Every time our spirits are raised, only to be dashed again. It's torture." From 2018 to 2022, private investigator Liam Macaulay from Northern Ireland probed the case with journalist Martin Bright for Vanished, the Surrey Schoolgirl, a documentary. Macaulay challenged this theory, citing a local walker's claim of seeing a girl resembling Ruth heading toward Betchworth railway station on Station Road at 6 p.m. on November 27, 1995, suggesting she left the area. He questioned the rapid assumption, unreleased CCTV, taxi logs, and the missing duffel bag, demanding a formal inquest, none held by 2022. Ruth's light attire, he argued, implied she expected a car, not death. His Freedom of Information request for police interviews was denied due to Operation Scholar's active status. Ian and Karen, declining participation, trusted the documentary's professionalism. From 2021 to the present, Operation Scholar, Surrey's oldest unsolved missing persons case, lingers open but inactive, per Chief Superintendent John Saville at Guildford Police Station. "We continue to keep an open mind about what is behind Ruth's disappearance," Saville said, but no new evidence has emerged. Surrey police classify Ruth as a missing person, not a presumed suicide, withholding her home life tensions and Nesta's to avoid biasing witnesses, crafting an image of a perfect middle-class home. Appeals via missing people and long-lost families persist. 3 theories haunt the case. The planned disappearance theory. Ruth's calculated moves, the staged notes, the cryptic bouquet, her dinner remark, standing still as if awaiting a pickup, suggested she fled. Her October runaway, home distress, fear of institutionalization, academic struggles, and Sheffield plea point to escape, perhaps to Wellingborough's absent grandparents. Frequent Box Hill visits hint at planning, sightings in 1996 and 2008 plus the walker's claim suggest survival. Yet, with no driver's license, passport or national insurance number, vanishing in 1995's pre-CCTV UK was daunting as a 16-year-old. The suicide theory. The paracetamol packets, the martini bottle, and Box Hill's deadly cliffs near Nesta's death anniversary fuel this theory. Ruth's distress over Nesta's suicide, self-blame, academic stress, and fear of institutionalization, amplified by 1995 stigma, suggest fragility. The rapid search implies police fears, but no body was found despite dogs and thermal imaging. Paracetamol overdose is slow, unlikely in public. The vermouth, about 375 milliliters, is too little for alcohol poisoning. The foul play theory. Macaulay's belief that Ruth was dressed to get into another car and her stationary stance suggests she met someone. The missing duffel bag, no body, and no financial traces support harm. Unverified rumors of an affair between Ian and Karen before Nesta's death, though denied, whisper family secrets. Ruth's church, music shop, and babysitting ties could point to a dangerous acquaintance. Yet no forensic evidence, blood or struggle exists. No crime scene. Unanswered questions gnaw. What did Ruth's notes say, and why are they sealed? Did she meet someone at Box Hill, and were her church or babysitting contacts probed? Where is the duffel bag, ID, money, or writing inside? Were the paracetamol and martini tested for prints or DNA? Was the 1996 CCTV Ruth? Did the Walker's 6 p.m. sighting hold up? Were phone records or taxi logs traced? Why did Nesta's Wellingborough family stay silent? Why the rapid search? Were there early tips of suicide or foul play? Was Ruth's Filofax fully analysed? Could her music shop job have funded escape? Why has there been no inquest? Though we do not know exactly what became of Ruth Wilson, we remember her not only as a name in the headlines, but as a bright, kind, and thoughtful young woman whose sudden disappearance left a lasting mark on all who knew her. She was just 16, full of potential, curiosity, and quiet strength. While the questions remain and the answers still elude us, Ruth's memory endures in the hearts of her friends, family, and those who continue to seek the truth. Until the day comes when we finally understand what happened, we hold on to hope and we do not forget her. Thank you for watching and listening to Ruth's story. Please feel free to let us know your own thoughts and theories in the comments section down below, and we'll see you next time.